All right, friends, let me tell you about a shift I didn't want, but it's creating the woman I'm becoming. It was May 2013. I was 32, 2 young boys, and 6 months pregnant with our rainbow baby. Life wasn't perfect, but I knew who I was, I knew where I was going, and I knew the plans I had for the year. My house was boxed up. We were 60 days out from moving into my dream home. It was just a regular day, except I had an appointment at the manager's office where I lived at to get a check. A check, yes, not any check, but the check, because come to find out, a little over a year, I have been paying too much rent. They didn't want to give up that check, but I made sure. So that made me 15 minutes late for my 6 months checkup. I didn't care. I was a little nervous and a little scared because the previous month, we had a heart scare. They couldn't find a heartbeat of my baby. So I went to that appointment just like the rest. We was laughing, we was joking with the staff, with the doctor, and then it was time to have an ultrasound. He said, Nada, unfortunately, again, I can't find a heartbeat. I was like, all right, my baby just stubborn like me. Remember, that's what you said when I came through the door. He's like, you're right. So he was like, they'll be waiting for you at the hospital. Now, if you really know me, do you think I went straight to the hospital? No. I tried to go cash that check. The line was too long inside and outside. I was like, all right, fine. We hungry, so let's go eat. Now, during that time, I called everyone like I did the previous month, but no one answered. On my way in, walking to the hospital, who calls? My older sister, Tammy. She was like, girl, you called me an hour ago. Why you just now walking into that hospital? Girl, I had to try to cash that check, and I had to feed me and my baby. Penn Station, that is. We laughed, we joked. By that time, I walked in, gave my name. The waiting room was packed. So I sat down, talked with her. We laughed and joked. She said, okay, we've been on this phone for almost an hour. They still ain't called you back? I said, girl, I'm not worried about it. I have nowhere to be. So next thing you know, time went past. Who coming through that door? Big sis. She like, girl, why they still ain't called you? I don't know. She asked the lady, why you ain't called my sister yet? She been sitting here for a long time. The lady said, she'll be next, she'll be next. I told her, girl, come and sit down. We started talking about the day, about her meeting, and everything going on. And next thing you know, we were the last ones in the waiting room. They called my name, and I was just about to tell her, I hope I don't get that same text from last month. And who opens up the door to call my name? The same text for last month. She wasn't nice. She wasn't polite. Last month, she told me my baby didn't have a heartbeat before even checking with her boss, and then left me in the room. Now, if you ever been in an ultrasound room, you know it's hardly no light. So I'm left by myself with my thoughts and my tears. And then her and her boss comes back and he says, we have a heartbeat. We're so sorry. We'll see you next month. But this time, here we are again, but I'm with big sis. She ain't taking that. So I get on the table. We have the ultrasound. She says she has to go talk to her boss. Me and my sister are not thinking nothing about it. We're talking or whatever. They come back in and he tells me, I don't hear nothing. I look at my sis. I see her face, her reaction. I asked her, sis, what did he say? And next thing I know, I was just crying because he said the words that no one wants to hear. Unfortunately, there's not a heartbeat again. I don't even know how they got me upstairs. I was crying and all I remember is just being moved. They put me in this big room. The nurse tried to give me an IV, but I didn't want no one to touch me. I wasn't trying to hear no one because this hospital I didn't trust. My previous pregnancies wasn't right with this hospital. But I had to be at this hospital because this is where my doctor was. And I love my doctor. He was like family, so I trusted him. But I didn't hear everyone, even after hours. The head nurse came in. Miss Waters, can we give you an IV? You've been crying. We don't want you to get dehydrated. Lady, I'm not trying to listen to you. By that time, more family had came in. My older sister had to leave, but she was coming back. She promised me she was coming back. By that time, my other sister, Tina, was there. She tried to talk to me. I was not listening to no one. I didn't care who you was, what you meant, how long we had been doing life together. I was not trying to hear it. Next thing you know, my sister Tammy was back, but she wasn't alone. My doctor was with her. And I told him, he said, what are you doing? Look, I'm not trying to hear nothing they said. I need you to give me another ultrasound. Then we talked, and I was not trying to hear what he said. And then next thing you know, it led for me to be in prayer. He said a prayer with me and my family. And I remember hearing the nurse tell my mother, she's never seen a doctor do nothing like that. He must really care for your daughter and your family. And I know he did, because like I said before, he was like family. But what he didn't understand is he wasn't my doctor for my previous pregnancies. So he didn't understand my body. I didn't understand my body. What most people don't realize is my body held on for my baby 4 days. 4 days I was in labor. I didn't move, my water didn't break. So they decided to schedule emergency C-section. They scheduled a C-section. It was going to be Saturday morning, the Saturday before Mother's Day. I called my boys. I said our prayers that we do like normal before they go to bed. I remember everybody telling me goodbye and kissing me. And I went to bed. My dad knocked out in the chair. And then next thing you know, I woke up. The machines was going off. What was going on? My body was failing. Organs was failing. They took me into emergency C-section. I remember hearing my dad, please wait for her mom. Please wait for her mom. They said they're going to try to do their best. Before I was knocked out, I remember looking through the window, through the door, and seeing my mom. They told her she couldn't come in. It was too late. They had to do everything right then and there. Can you imagine having to have a baby that you can't take home and doing it the day before Mother's Day? That shift led to depression, suicidal thoughts, questioning God, but trying my best to survive and make it and push through, because I had 2 other little boys, 2 other kids at home that was waiting for me. And I did the best that I could. People were talking to me. Everyone was saying how things happen for a reason. I hated that saying for years. Things happen for a reason? Do you know what you're telling me? You're telling me that my baby left me for a reason. I wasn't trying to hear that. I did the best that I could with my grief. The doctor told me the only help support group is in that hospital. I ain't trying to go back there, doctor. I don't want to be in that situation. I don't want to be in that same place. So I had to do it myself. I took walks in the park. I turned it back to journaling, something I used to do when I was little, when I was going through things. I used to walk in the park, and I used to beat on trees and be screaming. Rangers would look at me, and they just let me be. I did the best that I could. I used to sit in rooms, and I can hear people talking and talking, but I couldn't hear nothing. I was still stuck in my grief. I was still trying to deal with it the best way that I could. And eventually, I learned to journaling more. And then I thought about it. I'm journaling. I'm making my own prompts, doing my own affirmations. Maybe this can help others. See, I always wanted to have a stationery business, but I never really thought about it. It was just another goal on the checklist that I never thought I was going to be able to complete. So I did. God sent a lady on TikTok showing me how to do it, and I did it. I created 3 journals. They had affirmations, prompts in there. Them 3 journals lead to 10 more journals. Then I started doing events. People will walk up, they will read the journals, and they'll keep walking. But sometimes people will walk up, they'll purchase the journals, or sometimes people will walk up, especially this one lady. She walked up, she read the journal cover, and ran off. I didn't think nothing of it until at the end of the event, she came back and purchased that journal. Then she told me her story, just that title, what it did to her, that shift. It activated grief that she never thought about. She thought she had hid and she was over it. I done had other people come to me and tell me how my prompts and affirmations has helped them on their journey. See, LyGrace, the name LyGrace, the L-Y is from my late Aunt Lynette. And of course, Grace is from my baby girl. So LyGrace is 2 women that I love and lost. And dealing with that grief, which is love that I had for my baby girl, and I had nowhere to put it but in a journal, which turned into a business. Not just any kind of business, an international business within the first 6 months. I felt like it's a destiny. This is God's doing. He took Grace, but he gave me LyGrace. The different stories I done heard because of my journals from strangers, which now has become friends. I'm thankful and grateful. I may lost my daughter, but that grief and the purpose that I have that helped me with journaling led to me dealing with my grief. I'm still dealing with it and I'm still pushing through. That's the only thing I can do. But every time I see and hear a story, it makes me think of my purpose. Thank you.